It is a red distance today.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. And so we decided to wait. We're not forced. So
No. Say it
it's
well.
because
It's a very significant day. It's the beginning of a lot of activism, and it's across, actually. We're pushing for the passing of the RTI law, and that's why we're beginning today. And it's not just us, it's a whole big distance, you know.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking about the RTI today, and we will be sharing with you what very ordinary persons, the market women, people on the streets, what they know about RTI and what they think about it as well. There are pockets of activities going to happen. We will let you have a feel of all that, all the activations on the ground as we push for the passage of RTI. Remember, the speaker gave a deadline of before December, right? Okay. November is almost ending, is ended, we can say. And so, you know, we're just building up the pressure and letting them know that we need this law. We need it. The right information.
It's been long overdue. It's been in Parliament since the last 12 years. So
10?
Okay,
Close.
So we've had about this is the fourth Parliament in which we're trying to do something of the sort. Trying to make the effort. So we'll hope that.
Yeah.
Well,
so we'll have many conversations on that, but we want to begin the review, of course. Let's do the newspapers. We don't have much, actually.
Right. So you start with the Daily Graphic.
Front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper, NDC filing fee shakes aspirants. They say 400,000 Ghana cedis on high side. Also, no law breached on Justice Brobe report, according to Dan Boche. Business Development Ministry launches 4 million Ghana cedis fund for physically challenged women. Dagmon roadmap, police military to be ruthless on troublemakers. Let's turn our attention to the back page of the paper. MOFA, that's the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, receives support to boost rice production. And Lands Commission to use drones for survey registration of lands. Oh my God. Okay.
We're supposed to have used the drones for distributing
medicines, right?
Yes. The Vice President said September would have been the deadline, so would have started. September, then what? October.
Let's look at what's featured in the center spread of the paper. Ghana's energy mix, where the electricity we use comes from. So it's the Daily Graphic breaking the issues down in the center spread of the paper in terms of energy and petroleum, and trying to get us to basically understand what's happening. They've got all the breakdown, the grid coal, ECG, net coal, you know, all the big terms that we will normally hear the big people use.
Doomsaw can force information to come out.
Okay, so it's in the center.
Because during the NDC time, it was Doomcra. So now we're in Doomsaw.
Okay, let's do the Times, I think. Roland?
All right, so let's do the Ghanaian Times. It has on the front page, 4 million Ghana cedi boost for women in business as government moves to support physically challenged women entrepreneurs. And so that's a good thing. You have an attached photograph of the First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo. We have NDC filing fee pegged at 400,000 Ghana cedis. They also have to pay an extra 20,000 Ghana cedis for the forms. The Electoral Commission to hold referendum for creation of 6 new regions on December 27. And yesterday I saw a post on Facebook that said it's going to cost 932 million Ghana cedis. But they will be giving, that's the new regions will be giving 20 million Ghana cedis each as startup. I said that, well, if we have 932 million Ghana cedis to spend on referendum, then why don't we just give each of the districts in those affected areas, let's say 100 million, 100 million. At least we'll even get more. Anyway, so let me just keep my mouth shut and have more. On the back page of the Ghanaian Times, we have Tamale set to mark 34th Farmers' Day. That's on the back page. Vice President has his picture well placed there. So that'll be it for the Ghanaian Times. But let me do the Daily Guide newspaper. The Daily Guide newspaper has on the front page pictures of John Dramani Mahama, Joshua Alabi, Alban Gbagbe, Gozitano. NDC slaps 420,000 Ghana cedis on presidential candidates. Police invited me, Beige Bank boss, Mike Ninyaku. And then we have 79 1D, 1F projects ready. That's one district, one factories ready. New regions get 120 million Ghana cedi seed capital. Will spend 932 million for the referendum. Anyway, so you go to the center spread. It's about tourism and how you can discover and enjoy and learn about rivers in Ghana. That's a good one. Okay, so that'll be it for now. Mama V, you have a couple of newspapers you want to take a look at?
Let's do the Finder newspaper. Front page, 2020 presidential primaries, NDC hikes filing fee by 500%. Esiedun Ketia justifies 420,000 Ghana cedis being charged and declares that social democracy is not poverty. Public Procurement Act not efficient, according to Dr. Yamson. German government inject 10 million euros into rice production in Ghana. Government allocates some 120 million Ghana cedis for 6 new regions. 79 projects under 1D, 1F ready to be implemented, according to the Vice President. So by way of what's on the front page, there you have it. That's the headline in the paper today.
All right, so we'll go to the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Possible running mate for JDM, names of Julius Deborah, former Chief of Staff, Amakofi Boa, former Minister of Energy. We're being told by the Daily Dispatch newspaper that, the grapevine seem to be mentioning their names around. So their names seem to be popping up to be running mate for JDM. Goyle and ExxonMobil sign agreement on Cape 3 Point exploration. The story is on page 3 of page 11 of the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Migration in Greater Accra, Central and Shati regions. You have to know the trends. And the Daily Dispatch does good work on, some of all the issues about history, anthropology, and all that. So this one, I'm sure, is coming from one of the surveys, or if not, the population and houses census. Pages 3, 4, and 5. You got to find them in the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Nana Kunedu opens up on JJ and Coos. Do you want to be NDC's 2020 flag bearer? Then you must pay at least 420,000 Ghana cedis to be the NDC's flag bearer.
Yep.
Those are the stories we have.
Okay, let's stay with that story about the NDC filing fee. And I am picking this from the Daily Graphic newspaper, page 3. Story by Kobe Asma and Victor Kwaukume Nakra says the decision by the opposition National Democratic Congress to peg the filing fee for its flag bearer aspirants at 400,000 cedis has elicited sharp reactions from some of the aspirants. They raised eyebrows over the fee, suggesting it was counterproductive and disservice to a center-left party. At a news conference in Accra yesterday, and this was captured well in our AM News a bit earlier, the roadmap for the election of a presidential candidate for the party for the 2020 elections was outlined. The General Secretary of the party, Johnson Esiedun Ketia, said female aspirants and persons with disabilities would, however, have a reduction in the filing fee, while female aspirants will pay 200,000 Ghana cedis. Persons with disabilities will pay 150,000 Ghana cedis. The cost of the forms itself for an aspirant is 20,000 Ghana cedis, and all fees paid are non-refundable. Mr. Esiedun Ketia said nomination will be open for 2 working days of December 3 and 4, 2018, between the hours of 9 and 5 p.m. So I'm sure you're well aware of what people are saying, that this figure is a bit too much. I'm not sure. The argument is that if you want to be an aspirant, you should be able to raise funds. So we essentially don't expect them, Roland, to be raising this 420 or 400,000, if you like, by themselves. You have to get people to come together.
I think the argument by the General Secretary, who is a chief scribe, as usually we've described the General Secretaries in the media, Johnson Esiedun Ketia, is the fact that if you say you are a flag bearer, not that they expect you to have the money, you should have the ability to pool those resources. And it also shows your ability to be able to pool resources when you're given that position as flag bearer.
Because that's what you have. You have to try and get funds to support the party with the campaign.
Yes. But elsewhere, in the more developed countries, they have structures. Yes.
I told you we're a unique situation.
No. But
the state is not even funding the political
but
parties.
we have to do what
they
is
don't
right.
even disclose
The
to us where
democracy
they
we're
get the funding
the
from.
The democracy we're practicing is not fundamentally. It's a borrowed governance concept, and where they do it, there's a public declaration as to who has donated to who, etc. And then when the parties come to power, they don't shelve the other parties and its dignitaries and those who funded the other political party away. If they are business entities, the donations they made are made public. And so at the end of the day, their businesses, if they have contract even with government, would still have to run, because it is assumed that those contracts were gotten in an atmosphere of transparency, and the processes that were used were according to law.
You make it sound like it is all well and nice. You know,
no,
people don't do favoritism and things like that.
I'm
elsewhere
saying
because they funded the. But we've seen people being appointed, and you know, people attributing is not because of their capabilities.
Yes, I'm building a point. So I'm saying that if we want to peg it at that level in which that we're making the argument that the individuals who want to contest need to pool those resources, then we have to do it in an atmosphere of transparency. Here we don't do it.
But you know that won't happen.
So yeah, so that's where the 420,000 or 400,000 I feel is a bit high, because
whose standard?
Well, by the Ghanaian standard, 400,000 Ghana cedis is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And then more so, it's non-refundable.
Yeah,
because,
but that's how it's been.
Oh, has it always been that way?
Yeah.
I thought it was refundable.
No,
okay.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
But doesn't the NPP pay a lot
more than
this?
It's rather when you're filing with the Electoral Commission, then that one is, yes.
Isn't the NPP higher, or is because it's NDC? Or wasn't it higher?
Maybe the media were discriminating, because if during the MPP period we didn't make that much noise. So
but I guess that's why General Mosquito said what he said, that social democracy is not poverty.
No, yeah, and I agree with him. The thing is, if you want to stand for public office, the highest public office, you should show that you have the financial clout.
Yeah.
Especially in the current spate of things, when we know that things are expensive, strategies and their implementation and to get good output are expensive, because if you want to be a presidential candidate, you have to be in a position to pool the resources, organize elections, fund people, and fund activities.
But isn't that also, Roland, unnecessary pressure or responsibility on the person who is the candidate? After all, the person is running on the party's tickets. So isn't it the party's responsibility also to raise the funds, the necessary funds for the person, if you're leaving the bigger chunk to the individual? The argument has also been, how do ordinary persons who don't necessarily have the money, they have the following, they can't raise that much. How can they also get the opportunity to be flag bearers, to be presidential candidates? You know,
then they have they have to pool the resources. We're not saying that they should have the money in the accounts. I think that we're getting the whole concept
No,
wrong. Yes, I am.
So that's why I said they have a following, but they can't still raise 420 or 400,000, which is possible.
Yeah, which is possible.
Depending on the kind of following that you have.
Yeah.
And also, let's look at the timing. What's today's date? Because this deadline is 2 days. They're using 2 days, 3rd and 4th. You get it? So some people have also said that this is just some kind of tactics to eliminate some of them from the race. Yeah,
and
but whichever way.
Yeah, and I think for them, it could be possible. But during the MPP period, we saw everything that was done. I mean, physically, you could see that the party wanted Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to be the flag bearer. So, I mean, you could see that everything that was being done was to make sure that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was a flag bearer.
That's emphatic.
And they did, and they did everything, and Nana won. So perhaps maybe they're also doing something. But I think it's unfair to the others, because we have Sylvester Mensah, who also has the clout.
He can raise 400.
We also...
He can easily raise 400.
We also have...
He's done a lot of things in the corporate world. He should have people who are ready to pump in some money.
Joshua Alabi, we have
Joshua Alabi should easily be. He's been able to transform IPS to UPSA.
We have Guzitano.
Yeah.
We have Guzitano. We also have Spio Gabra. Of course, we have Stephen Atubiga and the rest. Album Black Men.
You know, it's interestingly, Stephen Atubiga is the person that people use as an example and say there was something making rounds yesterday, and maybe you probably would have spotted it, attributed to former President John Dramani Mahama.
Yeah, but that's a fake
it turned out
account.
later on to be a fake account that was sending the message. And the example in that was, how can Stephen Atubiga, for instance, raise this? But you see, the person that you're not expecting to be able to raise is probably the first person who would pull it off. You know, you don't look at a person and think
Stephen.
that this person can raise
So Mamavi
400,000.
is having a bet, super bet.
I'm not betting.
Says to me, Atubiga will be able to pull the resources.
But
let's see how it goes.
Presidency is a really high office. You should be able to. You should be influential enough to get people to support you. Yeah.
And that is where my position comes, my contribution about, or my comment about, let's make it transparent so that we know where money is coming from and from where.
The source of funding is really crucial.
So that when the parties, and then we're not going to victimize the parties or the individuals who tend to do so well or have done that, even if they lose election, to be saying that, well, you have all this and all that.
But I tell you what, the reality, we say, oh, transparency.
No. It doesn't work in our case.
But what is real is that if my name pops up as having supported any of the candidates,
you will not get any government
like
contracts.
Mamavi gave 100,000 or even pay the 400,000 to any of the candidates, to JM, for instance, I donated to him. And I'm a businesswoman. Imagine what will happen to me.
Because in a part of the world, business revolves around governments, and they are the biggest. I mean, money revolves around them. They give the biggest contracts, etc. So at the end of the day, you see that your company will just be discriminated against, and I think that is so unfair. That is so unfair.
Yeah. Well, Kojo joins us.
Yeah.
Kojo joins us.
Yeah. What's up? Where have you been?
Well, I was picking up a delivery for you guys.
Yeah.
So I come bearing gifts.
Thank you.
This is from the RTI coalition, the media coalition.
Yeah. What size
for
is that?
The right to inform. This is an extra large.
Okay. Oh, that's
a large. So I think that
which one are you
okay
wearing?
for? Please. Are you me?
You are wearing large, but you want me to wear extra large.
You are not as sleek and svelte as I am.
Yeah.
We're advocating RTI, but we're discriminating in sizes.
That's
extra large. How can I wear extra large?
Oh, you get body. You get
for
body.
where?
Okay.
So of
listen,
course,
if you haven't left home, you need to rock a red. Something reddish on you today. It could be anything. Just so our representatives in Parliament will know that we're sending a crucial message. We need the bill to be passed into law. They have to continue with the consideration. If it was budget, they would have gathered to do it. So we need.
If it was a loan.
If it was a loan, we need them to,
if it was
to
Chinese
pass this
chairs
law.
to come
and we need the Speaker of Parliament. We're holding. And today, what we're going to be doing on the show is to play back. They now give themselves deadlines. So we're just going to remind them that this is what you said, and we're holding you accountable. So we'll bring back, it's more like a total recall, some of the promises that they've made with regards when they are passing the RTI. We're just going to give them a reminder, and we are on them with all the activations.
That's right. The same speed that they used to pass tin and other tins.
Yes. We need.
use it to pass
this one is the tin.
This tin.
Yeah.
The RTI tin. And today, of course, the coalition will be distributing flyers at various points across the city, educating people as well on the bill and why it's important. Because you notice, especially on social media, whenever we talk about passing the RTI bill, we got a number of people asking, why?
Yeah.
What's it for? Why do you want this thing? You journalists, what do you want?
Yeah.
And I think
it's
we
the
need to make it
politician.
clear.
They've made it like that as if it's our bill.
Yes.
But you see, the ordinary people will pick up the phone and call the media houses, or when we open phone lines and we're having conversations, they ask questions.
Yeah.
Now we're saying, if this bill is passed, you have the rights, is your constitutional right to ask any representative, any official.
Absolutely.
And they will have to answer you direct.
For any time you have ever said to your TV screen or to your radio or whatever that, you journalist, why are you not talking about this?
Thank you.
Why are you not talking about that? Well, now, if we have this bill, you will not have that problem. Because whatever it is you want to know, we can find out on your behalf. You know, Journalists, Nankasa, we now, information, who do we give it to? When we go digging for things, who are we digging for? Who do we inform? It's you. So this is for you. Let's get it passed so that our government will have to account to us for everything they do. They can't hide anything. When they take your tax, we can tell you what they use it for.
Okay, any other stories? I picked the story.
Yeah, I not picked any story.
So have you guys talked about the filing fees?
We talked about the filing fees.
Yeah, you can
kind of like, what do you think about it?
What do you think about it?
Well, I think that if a political party wants to organize election, in fact, if you want to be a political party, you should be able to afford elections. You should be able to afford the organization of your election. If this was the first time ever that the NDC had to choose nominees, and they formed as a party yesterday, and so they need to raise money for this activity today, and we're charging 400,000 per head, then perhaps I would understand. But since they have organized elections in the past, they just recently organized an election for,
the national executives.
Yes. How much did they charge the national executive people to become, candidates for executive positions? How much did they charge them? Was it not the same number of delegates that came together to vote for them?
Well, yes,
so what was the idea? What's the reason why for presidential, aspirants they have to charge that amount of money? If you can't organize an election, if you don't have the money to organize an election, then don't call yourself
you're turning it on the party.
Yeah, absolutely. they are the ones who want a flag bearer.
But
so
when,
they should figure out how
where
to
do you
it.
want the party to raise the monies from? Because, for example, yes, I think I've read and heard insights of about 3 million Ghana cedis that will be used to conduct the elections.
Where did they raise the money from for the national executives to be elected? Last year, or the last 4 years, when they chose a flag bearer, where did they raise the money from?
In which they charged 50,000, only 50,000. Yeah.
How did they manage it? So this is not an excuse. I actually think perhaps the real reason why they are doing this is so that they can have a bit of natural selection. Because democracy should not be, available
elimination by rough
to
taxes.
those who have money, and the ability to raise money. It's something that you can do once you are in a position, where people feel that if they give you that money, then you are
almost ancient to your goal.
Exactly. So telling somebody who wants to represent your party to go and find 420,000 Ghana cedis before they will qualify to do so.
1.2.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very surprised that they are even seeking to justify it. Mr. Sidwin Ketia's justification surprises me.
Social democracy is not poverty.
Yeah, who talked about poverty here? I don't understand
where
that statement comes in.
You mentioned General Mosquito. Yeah, that's the response he gave.
That's my response to him. That where does poverty come into this discussion? Well, somebody wants to lead the party. What has that got to do with how rich or poor he is?
Okay.
There's a one-time Uruguayan president who was poor, had a beetle, and decided to stay in his ramshackle house.
Yeah,
and rule from the house. And after he was given a nice gratia and he said he won't take it. That's not why he became a Uruguayan president. And I believe that we need to take cues from such people. And we haven't even consolidated or developed the structures of our democracy. And that is even worrying, knowing that these things then will fester the current status quo as we have it. And we need to watch out, because there's supposed to be a younger generation of political leaders. If you look at the current statistics of our demographics for the population we have, young people, in the next 5-10 years, we will be transitioning to the age where they will be occupying positions. And if that is the idea, that we think money is the basis by which you can be in a position to rule or to govern, then we have a problem. That is why you have classmates who are in government and they are so rich, and you're not in government. And people, your other classmates in your year group think that you're nothing.
Are we not worried about how this might encourage corruption? We're asking people to find 420,000 cedis before they can come and run for a presidential candidate in one political party. So assuming that they are able to find the money, will anybody in that party be interested in where they found that money from? Is there any mechanism to check where people will find that money from? And if somebody goes to give 400,000 cedis to one person to aspire to become the flag bearer. And if that person wins, what will that person owe to the one who gave them that money? Why are we doing this to ourselves? You know,
well,
if you're doing that at party level, what will you do at national level?
Yeah.
You know, I really don't know why they thought this was
You do that in 3D at national level.
I don't know why they thought this was a good idea. There's nothing about this that tells a positive story, and I'm actually concerned.
Let's go to myjoyonline.com, because we also want to share by way of international news what some young children in Australia have been up to, taking a day off from being in the classroom and protesting, hitting the streets about climate change. But let's do myjoyonline.com first. On myjoyonline.com, 17-year-old abandoned state vehicles set for auction. Minority One Special Initiative Ministry scrapped. ADBMD receives Business Growth Achievements Award. JB Dankwa Memorial Center inaugurated in Chibi. FDA sets up Tema Port to fast-track testing of imported foods and drugs. WAGP reverse flow project to be completed 2019. NDC race, Mensa pledges swift response to party concerns. Tamale police show power ahead of Christmas, and Yana funerals. Okay, Mahama's journalist beta identified and suspended. So Neelanti van der Poy telling us on AM Talk yesterday. Ghana moves up to FDI investment countries in Africa. So Ghana has moved up one place up from 8th to 7th position in the league of countries that attracts foreign direct investments.
Mamabi, just before we go for sports, this is an important story about the journalist Beta, who has been identified and suspended. I think this is a cue for the police to move immediately and have the individual arrested. For all this time, over a month since our colleague was attacked, the thing that had been delaying the police's ability to do their job was the fact that the person had not been identified. Now we know he's been identified. He's been suspended, so they know who he is. After a month, they have figured out who he is. So the police need to arrest him immediately and make sure that justice is served. You know, he's taken to court, and a court of competent jurisdiction determines, you know, his guilt or otherwise. But the police need to move fast. They have no further excuse for waiting. Let's get justice and make sure that people don't feel that they can get away with attacking journalists. Absolutely.
All right, before we bring you sports, let's go to Australia. We've got a video to share which will tell you the story of how some children in Australia took a day off. They decided not to be in the classroom, even though the Prime Minister said the classroom was where they were supposed to be. They defied all the things that top people said, and they hit the streets, and they're angry about climate change and the fact that their country is essentially doing nothing about it. Here we go.
But I'll tell you what we're also committed to. Kids should go to school. That's what we're committed to. We don't support the idea of kids not going to school to participate in things that can be dealt with outside of school.
I'm here today because I feel like it's crucial that we act now, because like we've ruined the planet so much in like the short amount of time, like in such a short amount of time, and we don't seem to be slowing down. And I want my grandchildren and great-grandchildren to have the same beautiful earth that we have now. If so many students are skipping school, taking time out of their day to say something and try to make a difference, you should listen, because it definitely means that something's wrong and you need to act now.
Student! 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 Student!
So that's what they do in Australia. They line up the children
No,
to go.
Nobody lined up the children. The children themselves.
So the
decided
children
on this
themselves
action.
decide
And
to
this
hit the
was not
streets.
like this is. We're just seeing one, but it was across the country in other cities.
And in
as
our
well.
country, our children line up to greet princes and presidents.
Yes.
It's a problem.
By order, by instruction of the government. Children leave the classroom.
We need to educate
go
our
and
children
wave.
well.
Wave
To be
at
vociferous.
the
So
president.
you know the action by these very young people. That's we're taking a similar action, not with the same targets though. Ours is the right to information. That's what we're pushing for. But I've got a special birthday dedication. Elon Peggy Amabo of Humpty Dumpty School in Kumasi. It was your birthday yesterday, actually. Your mom, your dad, Edem, Elikem, and Aram are wishing you a happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Though belated. I hope you had fun yesterday. Elom Peggy Amabo of Humpty Dumpty School in Kumasi. Happy birthday to you.
All right.
We're good?
Yeah.
We're good to go?
Yeah.
I have a message from Akilu Fantiakwa from Begro. He took my number during the NDC Congress recently. He said, Roland, good morning to you all. Why is the media crying foul on how much the NDC nominations cost?
You see, that's the thing.
Because
that's the thing. We don't ask the basic questions, but people don't realize whatever you're seeing on the party level is what will come to national. And at that time, it will be too late for us to even begin to ask the basic questions.
so I think I'll answer with a retro question. What about you, Akilu? You want one day to stand for the presidency of your party because you're an NDC member and you are asked to pay a huge sum of money. Can you afford
The
it?
question is, why is Akilu not crying foul?
Yeah.
He's a member of the party.
I'm worried, actually.
Why is he not crying foul?
No, not necessarily even crying foul, but even asking questions.
Yeah, I mean, he's asking us why we are crying
Yeah.
foul. So I guess I'm just turning it over to him. You know, why is he not, why is he not curious?
Because it's
why does he not wonder why his party just organized a congress to elect people, a congress that would cost far more than what this one will, because there were far more
Well, that's why they
candidates.
need a lot more money, because
No,
what is
I'm
coming
saying-
up in 2020 is bigger.
No, I'm saying the one they did for the president.
Yes, the national
That was a
executives.
bigger event. It lasted longer. People are voting for more positions. So logistically, there is a lot more to be done. The printing, everything will be more expensive than what they will spend on the presidential candidate election.
They're looking at 2020.
So this money is to
I think it's all the same.
campaign in
But
2020.
the presidential
it is.
election will be organized in the various constituencies.
So what they are saying is that if you want to be the flag bearer of the party, you must fund the party's
Well,
competition, national competition
we
in
will talk
2020.
more about this NDC
We have to.
situation, but we have to run and make way for sports. I have a problem.